Hello there, this is Jaden and I'll be doing a free SEO analysis for this entire website. So no strings attached. This video is mainly just to help you see which areas you can get more organic traffic and eventually grow your organic presence online. So I'll be splitting up the videos into 3 different sections for you to navigate easier. The first section is really to find if there's any quick wins or quick opportunity that we can do, that we can optimize to gain more traffic, or if there's any major issues going on with your website. So that is for the first section. The second section will be to do a really quick audit just to see where the website is in terms of technicality. Is there anything wrong, or is there any issues with the website from a technical perspective? And then finally will be a SEO recommendation on what I'll recommend you to do in order for you to either fix those issues and grow your brand online. So I hope you like what you see, and feel free to speed up the video. So now, as you can see, I'm currently on your website, and I usually do this on the fly, so it's real and it's more relevant. So you know that it's not running through any kind of like quick audits and things like that. So first thing first, the first thing I like to look at is the design. So the design is somewhat straight to the point, and usually I like to find the more information I have about the website, about the brand, the more accuracy I can give in terms of the recommendations and stuff like that. So seems like it's a site for downloads, music downloads. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because I've never really taken a look at this kind of sites before, so it's new to me as well. So yeah, so the one thing I always like to look at is in terms of the website, where is it performing currently, and whether is it a new or old site. So this is relatively, well, I wouldn't consider entirely new. It's been around for almost a year, and it seems like there are some links, the links started to blow up the last few months, right? So let me see in terms of organic traffic. So organic traffic makes sense as well. Since you guys started link building, the organic traffic went up. And let me just take a look. So there's a few things that I will want to notice based off on the actions that you guys have took. So a lot of times the reason why I wanted to collect as much data as much as possible is because the more data I collect, I will be able to go deeper into if something is working or not. And the reason why is because, say for example, if we don't collect this kind of data, I will not know that actually you guys have gotten a lot of links in the last few months, whether that be intentional or unintentional, whether is it natural or you guys launch a link building campaign. Without all this data, I will not be able to specify what is relevant to you guys, which in this case it's link building. You guys are highly likely spending your resources on link building. So later on I'll be taking a look at that for the audit section, just to take a look at the links. Okay, and then now I want to look at the kind of keywords that you guys are ranking for. So ADHD, audio, ADHD leveling 2. Okay, so it seems like based off on a field look, it seems like the keywords are matching on to the URLs, which is fine. UKD, Duck UKD violin. Okay, so this is somewhat challenging for me, and the reason why is because with specific niche, there's always lingos, and there's always market terms. So in this case, for example, I have no idea what a UKD is. I have no idea what a HY MB drive is, and that's why usually whenever you are working with a SEO, for example, it's always what I believe is a necessity to work together, because an SEO will not be an expert in every single individual niche. So we know the specifications of what Google is looking for, but we do not know, we do not have the market expertise in the market, right? So for example, in this case, I know that these are the bunch of keywords that you guys are ranking for, but I have no idea. I have somewhat of an idea what an ADHD leveling 2 is, but the rest, like, loops, I kind of have an idea of what loops is, but UKD and stuff like that, we have no idea what this is unless we are, in the market, very involved in a niche. So I want to pick one. So based off on this, right, there's already a chunk of low-hanging fruits that I can see, which potentially can do well. And one of them being ADHD leveling 2. Now, the reason why I picked this, I'm going to select this one just to show an example, is because out of all, I think this is the one that it's most relevant to me, because I know this is, a tool for ADHD. So that's the most I can make out of it. The rest, I kind of have to guess, and I don't think I'll be right. And this seems like a good URL that we can go after, right? So you can see this, it's already in position 13, and let's just see. So it is slowly going up, and then again, with all these things that I'm seeing, right, usually I wouldn't call this a plateau, okay? And the reason why is because when it comes to SEO, once the implementation is done, you want to take some time for you to analyze, whether is it really on a plateau. And by a 2 months basis, it's very difficult to tell. Okay, and the reason why is because when your website, if your website isn't showing up for this keyword at all, this is considered a rise already, right? Which means to say this is already considered a win. For you to not be appearing on Google at all in June of this year, and then now in July it started appearing in page 2, right? To now it's kind of like just barely making to page 1. That is still somewhat considered a progress, right? So a lot of times when you see a keyword ranking plateauing for like say 1 to 2 months, do not worry about it, because the implementations that you are doing or you have been doing could be working. It's just that Google is taking some time to understand, and you need to let Google do its work. So with this being said, I'm still gonna pick on this to work on, because for the duration of for this video, I don't want to go and specifically pick up and identify which of the key URLs is the perfect one that I can go after. And if I could give you on some insights about this URL, I believe that it will help with regards to pushing this page up for this keyword. So I'm going to take a look at this for on page. So there's 2 things I'll be looking at, right? For links and for on page. So now I'm going to dive into the audit part. So the audit part, I'll be mainly focusing on 2 things, which is links and on page. Okay, and early on I mentioned technicality, but based off on this, I don't think I will have the time, because I really want to give you guys something relevant, and I want to dive deep instead of spreading too wide, because then it'll just be general advices. So now I'm going to click into this and just see how is the on page like. So first of all, with URLs, I think this URL structure is fine, because it seems like you guys are parking or having the structure in such a way that software is a sub directory, and then you have all your tools that is within here, which is perfectly fine. Okay, and second thing I want to look at is just to see what other keywords is this specific page ranking for or appearing for. So ADHD compressor. Okay, so ADHD leveling 2. Okay, so this is fine. One more thing that you can do is you can check to see if this is the, assuming you guys have already done the keyword research, right? One thing I like to do is I always like to plug in I always first of all like to see who is the competitor that you guys are competing against with, because that will give me an idea of what content it's relevant for this keyword, and also kind of sniffing out if there's any weird stuff going on, like for example, is this a brand? In this case it's not, but you want to sniff out stuff like, is this a branded search term, and things like that. So it seems like leveling 2, ADHD leveling 2. Yeah, so this is the primary keyword. And the reason why I want to take a look at the competitors is because I want to see if there's any keywords that I might be missing out, and to see if this is the primary keyword for anybody searching for anything related to ADHD leveling 2, right? So you can see ADHD audio tools, leveling 2 ADHD. Okay, and also at the same time, what you are doing is you are gathering information about how your competitors are doing in terms of how they are structuring out their page titles and their meta description. You don't necessarily have to follow exactly what they are doing, but again, with SEO, a lot of times it's noticing patterns. So you want to notice the kind of patterns that they are doing, and then based off on your own experience, of course, it's to see if that pattern makes sense, because sometimes because the competition is so low, even though the page is not very well optimized, can rank for certain stuff. So yeah, free compressor, leveling 2, compressor, leveling 2 ADHD. Okay, so this is interesting. So now I'm going to go into specific on-page stuff. So with regards to on-page, right? Free ADHD audio tools, leveling 2 download. All right, so this is okay, but in the world of optimization, I think this can be better. And the reason why is because what I will do is I will say if this is the target keyword, what I will do is I will change this around. Free ADHD. Okay, I will change it to ADHD leveling 2. Let me see if I can do this on the fly. So free ADHD leveling 2s, ADHD audio tools. So I'm guessing audio tools will be a secondary keyword that will probably appear here. And I'm just going to do a quick check to see if this is a secondary keyword, because based off on this, I already know that you guys somewhat know what you guys are. You guys know SEO just based off on the title that you guys have implemented. So I want to see if this appears for ADHD compressor. So this is interesting. Okay, so ADHD compressor seems like this could be relevant. So what I would do, right, I'm going to see if this is appearing for audio tools. Audio tool free download. Yeah, so what I'm looking for, right, is I'm looking for anything that is ADHD plus audio tools. Okay, and the reason why is because if you look at this, for example, audio tools, if it's not a, how would I call this? If it's not going to capture keywords, or essentially the reason why you're going after keywords is because you want to capture that demand, right? So if a keyword doesn't have any search volume, then you could swap it out for a secondary keyword that might make more sense. If let's say, for example, audio tools doesn't have any search demand, you can change it out for compressor in this case, provided if you guys, the ideal compressor, yeah, so this is a compressor as well, right? So instead of audio tools, you could be switching up to compressor, and this way you are sort of maximizing the use of your page title. So these are the few things that comes into consideration when I'm thinking about one-upping the page titles that either you guys have created or the titles that I personally come up with. So what I would do, right, it's I would remove this, for example. Okay, audio tools, and it seems like audio tools is this brand, right? So ADHD leveling 2 and compressor will be the secondary keyword. Okay, so what I will do is free ADHD. Now what I'll do is free. Usually you can run away with this by putting this at the end. Okay, and you want to just basically switch it up to ADHD leveling 2. Okay, and you can do something like a free download. Okay, so this breaks the eye pattern, because if you look at what's happening right now, right, you can see leveling 2, dynamics, compressor, limiter, right? Compressor, right? People are showing free compressor and things like that. But most of the time, when it comes to page titles, you want to insert somewhat of a copy. I would say techniques or strategies or tactics, whatever you call it, right? But you need to have somewhat of a copy within your page title to make it stand out, to make it clickable. Okay, and the reason why is because, first of all, earlier on, like I mentioned, it stands out from the SERPs. Second of all, if you put some thought into your page title copy, what's going to happen is when people are searching for this tool, it's very, it's kind of calling, it's not kind of calling, but it's very direct when it comes to that kind of marketing. When somebody is searching for a tool, you might want to think about what feeling they have in terms of what they are looking for when they are searching for a tool, right? So if you think about it this way, you will notice a lot of free over here, right? It seems like most people are looking for free stuff, right? But in this case, you can see all of them are putting free, right? So this is the feeling that they want to have. They want something for, it's part of greed, for example. It's a very not a good way to put it, but people are greedy. They want things that are free or cheap, for example. So that is the feeling that they want. So you want to incorporate them within your page title, which you guys already did. But what you want to do is you want to make this, okay, the feeling stand out. Okay, and by making it stand out, it's going to capture a lot more traffic. So that's first. And if it captures a lot more traffic, which means to say, the click-through rate is higher, what's going to happen is that will kind of like it will be kind of like a snowball effect. Because what's going to happen is when users land on your website, Google is going to register that, and the more people who land on your website after searching on Google, and the more click-through rates you have, the more clicks you have, that is generally a good signal for Google. And the more reason you are giving Google to push your page up, because you are giving users what they want based off on the clicks that your website is getting. So I hope that that makes sense. So what I will do is ADHD leveling 2. This is the that is the main keyword. So ADHD leveling 2, and then the next one will be compressor, right? So I would find a way to insert compressor within here. So ADHD leveling 2 with compressor, for example, right? Right, and again with compressor, this one it doesn't look the best, if I'm honest to myself, but this is the concept that you want to go with. So obviously, if you spend a little bit more time, you could come up with a better page titles, but again, you want to keep this below 60 characters. And I don't want to spend too much time on this one specific, but you kind of get the idea of what I'm trying to go with over here. So make sure the main keyword, if you can, does this keyword work? Is this title, is this okay? It's fine. So later on, I'll give you specific recommendations because of where you guys are in terms of your SEO already. I'll give you some specific recommendations of what you can do and what you can do to bring up the traffic and sort of do a little bit of testing. Let me just record it down. Alright, so that is for page title. Now, with description, I think you guys have pretty much nailed this. There's a CTA over here. There is a benefit over here. So that is awesome, right? But you might want to include a download ADHD audio tools, leveling 2 for free. You might want to include compressor within here, just so again, because that's one of the secondary keywords. And when people are searching for compressor, if your meta description is within the, if your secondary keyword is within the description, is going to be bolded. So that is a little bit to do with description, but generally I don't think that is a main problem. And then because this is a tool, people just want to download the tool. So obviously the word count doesn't matter, I think. But most of the time, this is one really good takeaway actually. Sometimes it's always good to double check what users want, and the answer is always on the first page of Google, and those are your direct competitors which are ranking well, specifically like say for example in the top 3 position. And how you do that is just basically go in and see what kind of content they have. So I'm assuming because this is a tool, it's going to be very straightforward. Yeah, you can see over here this is straightforward, right? But a lot of times, right, what will happen is because we think that this could be the best, and then when we look at the search results basically it's different from what we think users want versus what they really want, right? Because not all the time, not 100% of the time, but most of the time, Google rank pages because of the interactions that that website have, right? And the interaction is based off on when people search on Google, they click through on Google, the amount of time they spend there, whether do they pogo stick or not, whether do they bounce off, and things like that. So that is where you can find most of your answers. Now, not 100% because like I mentioned, there are a lot of different types of rankings. Some could be because of links, some because of black hat tactics and things like that. But generally, overall, you want to take a look at these top competitors just to see if the content that you have, it's matching what users want on Google. Right, so in this case it does, because you can see all this are very thin in content. It's not a blog post, it's just basically a place for people to download stuff. So that is awesome, right? So that is with regards to the what do you call it, the specific page title. Now I have a little bit of time left. I'm going to take a look at the links that you guys are building, because you guys are spending a bit of time there. So let me take a look. Okay, let me filter this out. One link per domain. I'm gonna filter out by all links first. And okay, no follow. Let me go. Okay, so this is interesting. Let me just close this. I'm not sure what Alright. So will all this link work? This seems like a Twitter or something, but it's in another country. Alright, so I am a bit cautious about what this is. I'm a bit cautious when I look at after seeing all these links. Okay, and I'll give you some thoughts on why. So first of all, if you guys are launching a SEO campaign, if these links are intentional, meaning to say you guys are building links, I would highly recommend you guys take a look at your approach. Okay, and the reason why is because if you look at all these links, right? Okay, provided if you guys are doing this, intentionally, because these type of links is gonna be very sketchy in a way. Okay, and the reason why is because you can see all these are curated, right? Also, all these are curated. Now, if you have links, so yeah, I think this is kind of like a platform. So again, with platforms, I'm not sure if this makes sense to you guys. If it makes sense to you guys, please go ahead. If this is a PR, if this is you guys posting on a certain social platform, then by all means go ahead. But if you guys are spending money to build links like this, then I'll highly recommend you to maybe take a step back, because with links like this, usually that's not where you want to spend your resources on, specifically for these kind of links, because these are all social links. Let me see if you guys have any do follow links. And if all these are natural, right? If people are sharing these, or when if you guys are personally sharing this on your platforms or your social platforms, and it's all done naturally, meaning to say, people found out about your website, what your website can do, and then they mention your website someplace else, is perfectly fine. But with regards to link building, if you are doing this for link building, I would recommend you to take a look at the link building approach that you guys are doing, because it's all about, first of all, the quality of links that you are getting. Okay, you want to make sure that you guys are getting quality links, because if not, what's going to happen is when you see your traffic go upwards, what's going to happen is if Google managed to come up with a way to detect all these links, which they usually do, and that usually happens when an algorithm comes up, then that's where your traffic, you'll start to see a lot of yo-yo and hockey sticks, where it's, it's always up and down, up and down, up and down. It's always firefighting most of the time. We have seen, I personally seen a lot of cases where when a specific website needs help with SEO, when we go in and take a look at a website, they usually need help when their website is down, and then once a SEO work with them, whoever it is, their website traffic goes up, and then it goes down again, and then it goes up, and they are always continuously firefighting. So one way to do that, one way to avoid that, is to make sure that the links that you guys are building, if you guys are building any links, it's to make sure that these links needs to fit a certain qualification. So the links ideally must have some kind of traffic to them. They are not PBNs. Hopefully, if you guys are avoiding that, but not saying that it doesn't work. It does work, but that comes with a little bit of risk. And then you want to make sure that you're building links from relevant websites. So that is kind of like what I can recommend in terms of just with regards to links. So I don't have the time to go and look at specifically the type of links and dive into details, because we are about to reach the final section. And this final section, I want to talk about the recommendations I'll have for you. So first of all, right, with recommendations, what I would do is, if you take a look at your homepage right now, okay, what I would do, it's earlier on, like for example, with regards to that specific page that I was looking at. Okay, if I can go to that page. Okay, with regards to this page, my recommendation, if I'm working on the project, I would probably leave this for around, so there's a few choices. The first choice is leave it for around 2 to 4 weeks. Okay, just to see if the rankings is plateauing, right? Because early on when we took a look at a site at this specific URL, it seems like it's starting to plateau a little bit, but because it's so early in the stage of the I don't know what to call it, the plateau mark, right? The beginning of the cliff, right? Because it's in the beginning, right? So it's very difficult to tell whether it will go down or go up, or whether it will remain the same. So the first choice is you give it some time first, right? So you give it, say for example, another 2 weeks or maybe even a month. And if for the next month you see your rankings is still the same, then you want to go in and implement the stuff that early on, like I mentioned. Maybe change your page titles around earlier on, like what I mentioned. And usually that works most of the time based off on the framework that we have been using at our agency. But that is the kind of approach that you guys want to take. The second option is think about what you have to lose and what you have to gain, right? So right now your page is not getting this specific URL is not getting traffic, and if you were to optimize it, chances are it could go down, right? Because not all optimization will 100% guarantee that it will always go up. With our framework, we have seen it work a lot of time, but we have also seen it continue to plateau, and that's where we need to go in and test out other certain stuff. But technically, in terms from an organic standpoint, you guys have nothing to lose. The reason why is because this page itself is not getting any traffic anyway. So this is different. If this page is already getting traffic for other search terms, then you want to consider what you have to lose when you change your page titles. But in this case, it seems like it's in terms of what you stand to gain and what you stand to lose, it seems like there is a lot more to gain than to lose. So I hope you like this video. That is my SEO recommendation for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. If not, like I mentioned, this video is really just to help a brand out, a business out, and hopefully you like what you see. So that being said, that's all for the video. Thank you so much for watching this. Stay safe and take care.